Hello there, and welcome to another Agency Playbook. My name is Craig Pretzinger. I am an agency owner. I am an insurance dude. And if you haven't listened before, we're here to supply you with strategies, tips, tactics, and resources to grow your agency, become and remain a successful agent at the top of your market.
Insurance dudes are on a mission to escape being handcuffed by our agencies.
How? By uncovering the secrets to creating a predictable, consistent, and profitable agency sales machine.
I am Craig Pretzinger.
I am Jason Feldman.
We are agents.
We are insurance dudes.
So we're going to talk a little bit about maximizing your lead conversion, right? Once you understand how many leads you need to get a day, you understand a lot of the things around leads, the different types of leads that you can get, and you've landed on the right lead type that's going to work in your market. Now it's time to make sure that those leads convert, because there's nothing worse than buying a bunch of leads and then not getting any results from them. So it's important to manage those expectations. One of the challenges that you find, or that I have found all along the way in the 15 years of being an agent, is really knowing who to trust. So it's difficult to find those companies. There's all the big names, but regardless of which company or companies, and you should always use multiple lead sources so you can pit them against each other. We'll talk a little bit about the metrics, and we've talked about it before, but we'll go into those. Once you've landed on those right types, that you want to make sure you're pitting at least two against each other. And you're going to be tracking these for a good 90 days, or at least looking at the trends. So if you notice, let's say you have an EverQuote campaign and you have a Quote Wizard campaign, or even an ILB campaign and a Quote Wizard, whatever you're going to put against each other, we want to make sure that we're looking for trends. So if we're 3 weeks in and we notice that the contact rate is super low on the EverQuote campaign, but really great on the other one, let's say ILB or Quote Wizard, well, then all of a sudden, you know that one is underperforming, and you're going to keep an eye on it. If that CPS doesn't go down over time, then of course we're going to make some adjustments. Critical to any lead conversion strategy to be effective with leads is there has to be a good back-end strategy. So we have to have good follow-up. I've spoken with many agents over the years, and I've done it myself, where you buy the leads, you make the calls on them once or twice, and then you move on. And leads will never be good under those circumstances. So there has to be a really good and effective strategy for following up. Now, when we make that initial dial, we're probably not going to get a hold of them. We make that second dial, we're probably not going to get a hold of them. And we're going to keep doing that. So as long as we have the right tools, the right system that can actually outbound those dials, and then also segment those leads into different buckets depending on what they've done, you're going to be a lot more effective than just having some Excel sheet and try to make calls. And what we found is, if there isn't something that's making those dials for your producers, likely they're only going to make a couple dials on each lead. Eventually, they're never going to follow up with any of them because they just won't be able to. Because that's the next challenge, is once you know how many leads you actually need to buy to get to the result that you want to get to, it's going to be very difficult to handle. The volume is usually quite a bit more than what agents expect. I'll tell you, from my carrier, even, they may recommend, oh, well, if you want to do 10 quotes, buy 10 leads. No, it doesn't work that way. If we want to do 10 quotes today, or 10 quoted households today, probably going to have to talk to well more than 100 leads, because 100 leads contacted will typically yield 10 quoted households. So in order to get to 100 leads contacted, well, we need a lot of leads in there, don't we? And we need a lot of dials, and all those leads need to be at different ages, right? Meaning you could have bought one set of leads 3 weeks ago or a month ago, and those are also getting hit amongst all the dials that are going out. So real important to get to an understanding on that. Some other best practices. How are we going to create lead nurturing and actually create a relationship even pre-sale? Well, again, having the right dialer cadences to make sure that we make contact is really important. And then us as the agent knowing the numbers that we need to get to in order to hit that ultimate goal. And finally, we've got to have a really effective means of connecting with people. And when I mean connecting, I don't mean connecting the call, but I mean actually connecting from a conversational standpoint. Because once we connect with them, they're going to like us more. And when they like us more, they're going to choose to do business with the people that they like, right? It's not always about price. In fact, it rarely is about price once they start talking to people. If it's purely transactional, sure, done on the internet, then they're just going to look for the lowest price. But we got to get them on the phone. We got to keep them on the phone. And we've got to do that quote with them on the phone. And we have to find out where they work, who's in their family, and what do they do for fun. Those are the three things that we need to find out and get in those notes. If you're not familiar with the Telefunnel, it's what we describe as the system that you use in order to get results from your leads. And in fact, to get the best results from the leads. And when I say have some sort of telefunnel strategy, you have to take everything that I've already talked about, everything that you've learned in a lot of the episodes that we've had, and you've got to be able to put it together in an organized fashion. And that's what the Telefunnel is, right? It's setting the benchmarks. It's having the right amount of leads. It's making the right dials. It's all of the different components that make it very simple to quickly look at the numbers on a daily basis and have an understanding of where you are and where you'll probably be getting to based on what's happening right now. So real important. And I can tell you, prior to ever having a Telefunnel strategy in my agency where it was really systematized, internet leads were a real bust for us. We didn't really ever have any success, regardless whether it was age leads, whether it was premium internet leads, whether it was cheap internet leads, whatever it was, it didn't ever really work because we didn't have a good, strong follow-up strategy. We didn't have the right systems. We weren't buying the right amount of leads, and we didn't know the numbers. So it's so important to understand that once all of those numbers are understood, the comfort level with the spend is there, then it's just time to go. Because after you've figured out that your cost per sale is less than that lifetime value, boom, there you go. You've got incalculable amount of scaling. So let's do that. Let's figure out together using all of the things that I just went over, and let's freaking crush it. Let's do it. You got this. We'll see you soon.